The things that you are good at in sales, you really can't be taught. I can learn about a car. You could teach me about a Toyota. You could teach me about a Nissan. You can teach me about a Lamborghini, but you can't teach people how to be, likable, charismatic personality, and, just to be transparent and be able to connect with people. Because at the end of the day, it's people-to-people business.
Welcome back to the Regenauer Report. All right, well, we've talked a lot of cars. We talked about boats. We talked about planes, but now we get to talk about cars. So on this episode, we have Nick Del Negro. I had to make sure I said that wrong because, guys, unfortunately, I butcher every last name. Nick, it's a pleasure to have you on here. He is the GM of Lamborghini Naples, which is a brand new dealership here locally. We're excited to have you guys here, a part of Naples community. Obviously, it's definitely needed. But today, we're going to be talking everything around the car industry, building relationships with people, helping them through the process, different things like that. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. When you gave me the invite, I jumped at the opportunity. I took my Lamborghini, I put it in sport mode, and I was here in no time.
I love it. That's why I was here before. It was ahead of time, right?
That's right.
No,
Lambo Nick, baby.
You were still late because of the traffic in Naples. That's
correct. That's correct.
Everyone's still here. It's supposed to be Easter. Everyone's supposed to leave. No one's left yet.
I think this year, but to be honest with you, I think we're going to see more people down through the summer. That's kind of what I'm feeling, the vibes, Construction's getting completed. People are, getting in their homes from the hurricane, and projects are being completed. And when people build homes and get their projects complete, what do they need to do to the garage?
They need to fill it up
with Lamborghinis.
Who do we know?
Lambos, Nick. Exotic cars. They come see me, and that's how it starts, just like that.
All right, Nick, let's dive in a little bit about you. How long have you been in the car industry?
I've been in the car business 20 years.
Okay. Yeah. You're not from
here?
No,
I came from Boston, Massachusetts. I moved here 27 years ago with no intention of getting in the car business. At that time, my oldest brother, Brian, was in the car business, working at Fort Myers Toyota way back in the day. And he invited me to get in the car business, but at that time I was young. I had just, withdrew from school. I said, I don't know what I want to do with my life, but I know I want to be in the sun. I want to come down to Florida and hang out with my big bro and get a taste of that Florida living in the beaches. And my very first job, the second day I was here, my brother took me to a motivational seminar up in Tampa for the car industry.
So the second day, you're like, I just want a vacation, right? I just want to enjoy. And he's like, come here.
He's like, we're going on a little road trip, okay? We're going to be up early. We're going to Tampa at the Thunderdome. And we went to a big motivational seminar with Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins, Christian Reeves, Joe Torre, General Schwarzkopf, Colin Powell, all the big names. I left that place, I was ready to run through a wall, right? I mean, just jacked, motivated.
But
I still didn't know what I wanted to do.
When people go to that 10X, right?
That's right,
Tony
exactly.
Robbins, different things.
It's exactly right. I flew home. I said, you drive the car home, I'm just going to fly home.
It's like my dad always said when he drinks too much coffee, he was like, I'll be running next to the car all the way home.
That's right,
at the tires, right? Just.
And the day after that, I said, you know what? Do me a favor. Drop me off at the beach. I'm going to walk up and down the beach, and I'm going to get a job. I want to work on the beach. And my very first job down here in Fort Myers, Florida, was I ran a jet ski rental business on Fort Myers Beach. That was my very first job. He picked me up at 5 o'clock. I had my backpack on. I walked up and down the beach. I had like 5 or 6 jobs by the end of the day, and I selected to work at a jet ski rental place on Fort Myers Beach, and that was my first job. And that's where the kind of sales took place. I started selling jet ski rentals. People would walk up and down the beach, and I would be out greeting them and saying, hey, do you guys want to rent some chairs? You want to go jet skiing? You want to go parasailing? And,
a lot of no's, right?
That's right. A lot of no's. No's. But the guy that I worked for first, I helped take his business to the next level. And I kind of got a name for myself on Fort Myers Beach as kind of the guy from Boston that's kind of getting everybody down to this end of the beach and kind of, getting some jet skis out in the water. So that was
the good-looking tan guy sitting on the beach,
shredded tan,
slinging
absolutely.
Jet skis. All right. I can see that. That's 20 years ago, but that's awesome.
Yeah, and then fast forward years later, I end up, getting into the car business and working with my brother.
Okay. So that was at Toyota still, or did he move?
So I started out at Fort Myers Toyota, and I got a good taste of that after working on the beach for so many. I think I did about 2 years on Fort Myers Beach, and kind of got into some other things, and was just trying to find out what the good fit for me was, what career. I knew I needed to be in sales, and I knew I liked people. I just didn't know what. So I started working in the car industry at Fort Myers Toyota, and I kind of took off running. I really had some success right away. The things that you are good at in sales, you really can't be taught. I can learn about a car. You could teach me about a Toyota. You could teach me about a Nissan. You can teach me about a Lamborghini, but you can't teach people how to be, likable, have a charismatic personality, and, just to be transparent and be able to connect with people. Because at the end of the day, it's people-to-people business. The car is the product they're buying, but you're really dealing with people, and they got to buy off of someone they like and feel comfortable with.
It doesn't matter what you're selling.
It doesn't.
It can be literally, pun intended, any vehicle, right? But any platform, anything. It could be advertisement. It could be a home. It could be a car. It could be life insurance, right? You still got to trust the person before you buy
Absolutely.
it.
And I look at that. I say, well, would I buy something from you? Would I spend an hour and a half, 2 hours with you in a very intimate setting, in a car, going on a test drive, whatever it is, sitting down, talking about financials and pulling credit reports and, talking about money and down money and payments and what's affordable and what isn't. You got to really feel comfortable and have a lot of trust and have confidence in the person you're sitting down talking about those important decisions with. I've always had an ability to connect with people. I love people. That's the first thing. I like to talk to people. I like to hang out with people, joke around, have fun, just be yourself. And that's where I saw success. I wasn't a car guy. I'm not a guy who can fix cars or tell you 0 to 60s and, get internally with the way the engines run and all that stuff. But I know people, and the people are the one buying the cars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So you obviously been in the car industry for a while, and you said it's about building trust. How do you build trust with someone? How do you build rapport like that? Because I agree with you. I've been, I used to sell supplements back in the day in college and, worked up the rankings there. I've done different things. At the end of the day, it's building relationships with people. For you, how do you start that?
The first thing I do is I just try to connect with someone on some sort of level. It depends on, the setting, right? If I'm outside in the parking lot and I'm talking to someone, you could be talking about the weather. You could see the hat they're wearing, and maybe it's an Ohio State hat, and you say, hey, are you a Buckeyes fan? Or, you hear an accent. Like I pick up a Boston accent because I'm from New England. So the minute I park the car by Harvard Yard, right? But the minute I hear someone speak that's from New England, I can pick that out of nowhere, just like that. And I say, hey, by the way, are you from Massachusetts? And they say, yeah, well, what part of Massachusetts you from? And then that just, forget about cars.
Right.
I'm not trying to sell you anything. I want to learn about you. I want to just talk to you as a person.
You're not trying to sell anyone. Or sell anything. You're trying to sell yourself at that point, right? You're building the rapport, which later will lead to something, right?
Absolutely. A sale doesn't happen like that, especially when you're buying a very expensive car.
Right.
You can't just get into, hey, prices, numbers, this and that. You got to really take your time and kind of, go through that process of learning about who your customer is, or potential customer for that matter. And sometimes they're not customers. Sometimes you're just talking to people, and maybe that person isn't a buyer. Maybe they just stopped in to look at a car, and you would just happen to be the dealership they popped into, and that's okay. I enjoy talking to people, meeting new people, because that customer, if they leave, and I can give them the one thing when they leave, if they can say, wow, you know what? That was a great guy, man. What a nice guy that guy was. What a great dealership. If I ever get in the market, or if I know somebody that is going to get in the market for a car, okay, I'm going to refer him to this guy. I'm going to send him down to this dealership because these guys are great people. It was a very, nice experience. There was no pressure, and I felt comfortable. That's the most important thing.
And you left the door open. A lot of people, if they don't close the sale or they don't get a sale, they like to close the door. And it's like, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. You don't know who that person knows. You don't know where they're going when they leave the dealership. They could be going, let's say they can't afford a Lamborghini, and they came in to look at a car because it's their dream car, or they brought their son in because he's enamored with Lamborghinis, which a lot of people are, right? Well,
don't blame them.
I'm still going to show them a great experience,
Right.
and I'm going to let them sit in the cars, take pictures with the cars, and that's just me. That's just like if you came to my house, right? I'm going to sit you down. We're going to eat. We're going to break bread. We're going to have a drink. I'm going to give you the tour of the house. We'll sit down. Same thing when they come to the dealership. Mm-hmm. And when they leave, I just want them leaving feeling good. And who knows where they're going to go? They might go play golf with the owner of the company they work for, who might be a multimillionaire who has a car collection, and could very easily come in and buy a car. Or they might be, going over someone's house where the neighbor's got a Lamborghini. I mean, there's a million.
And it takes one comment. Oh, yeah, they had a new, STO there. oh, really? I've been looking for a green. Oh, they had a green one. Oh, boom. Yes, the experience was great. Boom, done. Go talk to Nick. Oh, and you don't even know.
Absolutely. Hey, I just came from Lamborghini, met the general manager. He was out in the parking lot talking to me. What a nice guy. Like, you should go down and see him. They're really, really good people down there. And that's all I want.
So I think that's been lost in so many different industries. First of all, I think across the board, people have lost that human touch, that ability to connect. Unfortunately, I'll say it, I think it's a lot of my generation. We hide behind phones, tablets, different things like that. A lot of them don't even want to pick up the phone now, right? They would rather text, different things. It's kind of sad, right? And so first of all, I just, that's awesome that you're doing that. And I think more people need to do that. And in sales, it's so critical. So if you're someone that wants to sell something, guess what? That's everyone listening right now, because we're all selling something. It could be a product or service or whatever, or just yourself. But be more likable, be uncomfortable, get out there, build relationships. But my question to you, okay, is how do you combat this world of tech, right? Because obviously you guys are in the industry to sell cars, right? You got to take a car in and then sell it. Now your world's a little bit different since there's not very much inventory, right? Usually it's very select and, small amounts of inventory and very hard to get. So it's very different. But, in a world of, let's say, Toyotas, there's a lot of them, right? And I can go on the 80,000 different websites that are search engines for cars and try to find like models and, all the prices are online and stuff like that. How have you combated the online car automotive world?
Well, so I started at Toyota, and then I went to Nissan, okay? And there I partnered up with my brother, and him and I worked together. And then we left there and got an opportunity to run the Jaguar Land Rover dealership. And I think the difference between a Nissan and a Toyota and, say, a luxury car like a Jaguar Land Rover, or even a step above that, a Lamborghini, is the difference of I need a car and I want a car. And the way you combat that is when you look at a Toyota, there's 1 million Toyotas on the market for sale. You can look in Miami, you can look in Tampa, you can drive anywhere and get a Toyota, right? But in the luxury market, it's more of I want that Range Rover, I want that Lamborghini because it's, number one, a status symbol, it's the right color, the right car. Whatever boxes that they check, there now becomes a want rather than a need. And people need transportation, so then it becomes about price and payment and affordability, where when you go to the luxury market, it's more of the experience. It's more of the I want the product, and are you going to be the person to deliver that product to me at a fair price and give me a great, great experience? And I think that's the difference.
Huge. I mean, Toyota will get me from here to Miami, or Lamborghini, but I have a lot more fun in a Lamborghini.
I would agree with that statement. Right? But Toyota's a great car, Nissan's a great car. I mean, my dad always told me, cars are transportation. They get you from point A to point B. Some of them are just a little nicer than others. But when you get to that luxury or exotic level of cars, you got to be. It's very, very selective on the car. It's got to be like the car, or the color, or have the wheels, or have the lowest miles. That's real important.
Yeah. How's been the market here? Obviously, when I first actually met you, obviously you were still up at Land Rover and Jaguar up there, and now you're down here, slinging Lambos left and right. Naples is an interesting market, right? I feel like, first of all, it's getting younger and younger, but the demographic's a little bit older, right? How has that been? How has been breaking into the industry? Because there's so many entrepreneurs listening to this podcast and like, I want to do this business, and it could be any business, but they're like, I'm scared to break into the Naples market, right? So how's that journey been for you?
It's been excellent. It really has. I think Naples has really taken to us, and we've made a pretty big splash in the community. I think for a long time, Naples has been thirsting for a Lamborghini dealership. When Ferrari opened up 3 years ago, they had a lot of success, and I knew it was just a matter of time before Lamborghini opened one. The group I work for is the Warren Henry Group, and they own the Lamborghini dealership in Broward County, so they already had a Lamborghini point. So when I knew, which they also own some Land Rover dealerships, which is how I got connected with them in Miami, of course. And when they told me that they were thinking about opening one in Naples, and would I be open to maybe running that store for them, I said, well, absolutely. I think the market definitely could support it. It's a very affluent community and growing rapidly. And then that's how the conversation started. And then when they offered me the gig, I said, you know, this is kind of a no-brainer for me because as a child, it's been a childhood, you know, dream of mine. You know, I remember when I was a young kid, I had the picture of the Lamborghini Countach on the wall, right, with the Golden Gate Bridge behind it.
That was my age, the Gallardo, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little older than you, hence the gray hair, you know. So
Still rocky. You look good, don't you? At least you have hair.
I didn't
right?
get a haircut.
I don't have any hair, right, buddy?
I wanted to get a haircut for this, but yeah. So I mean, that was like the dream, and I said, man, you know, fast forward times. I mean, I moved down here 27 years ago at $500 to my name. Withdrew from college, didn't know what I wanted to do, and got luckily an opportunity in the car business. And now here I am years later, you know, as a childhood dream, you know, running a Lamborghini store, and I'm around these cars every day. You become desensitized to them sometimes when you're around them. But I mean, it's an amazing product and an amazing market, and we've got a lot of traction right now. And we only have one place to go from here, which is up.
Yeah,
the customers love it because, you know, in years past, a lot of them would want to buy a Lamborghini, but they never had a place where they could service the vehicle.
Yep.
So they would have to go up north or across the alley, you know, and that just was a little bit discouraging to them to spend $300,000+ on a car, or even $200,000 on a car, and not have a place in their backyard where they can service the vehicle. Or if there was an issue, who do they call? How do they handle that? You know, and I think having the dealership here locally, it gives people that confidence to own a product like that.
So obviously Lamborghini is crushing it in the exotic world, and their performance and everything has been impressive to watch, to say the least. Now, you guys also ventured in, have an amazing SUV that's flying off the shelves in a sense, right? You guys are selling a lot of those.
The Urus or Urus, whatever you want to call it. You can call it
whatever.
You know, some people say tomato, Urus, amazing SUV.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So with that being said, so many, you know, manufacturers going kind of electric hybrids and stuff like that. You're obviously, I think one of the beautiful things of Lamborghinis is the sound, right? So what's kind of the vision of Lamborghini in regards to that with a lot of companies kind of going electric?
It's funny you say that because they're actually going through a transition right now. So for the Urus, this month is the last allocation for the all-gas engine. They will be going to a full plug-in hybrid across the entire lineup. So
you will not be able to get a Urus.
You will not be able to get a Urus gas engine, fully gas engine, after the month of April. New.
Yeah, right.
You'd have to be buying one on the pre-owned market, which we always stock our inventory with some good quality, lightly used pre-owned cars. But if you wanted to order one in May, I would not be able to do that for you. You'd have to go to the new plug-in hybrid engine. It's a PHEV, they call it, or PHEV.
I saw that when Land Rover did that, right? The PHEV. Or something. Yeah.
So the way that works is it's a recharging battery. It's electric and gas. The first model that will hit the ground for Lamborghini is the new Revolto, which is taking the place of the Aventador, the iconic, legendary Aventador.
Yeah.
But that will be the very first.
And that's the hybrid too, right?
That is the same engine. So that vehicle will be the first one to hit the ground.
Wait, it's the same exact engine,
Urus, the same type of engine, but more horsepower.
Okay.
It's a V12.
Gotcha.
Versus a twin-turbo V8 and the V10 in the Huracan.
Right. So the 12 is still going to have the hybrid option.
It will,
the 10 will have it. The Urus will have it. Everything. Okay.
So the way that technology works is it's electric for the first 5 to 6 miles, and what that does is it gives it that instantaneous acceleration, you know, like an electric car does. That kind of right out of the gate. But it also gives it 300 extra horsepower too. So now in that vehicle you have over 1,000 horsepower in the Revolto. So, yeah, so that'll be the first one to hit the ground. And then the new Urus, the 25 Urus, will be also a plug-in hybrid. And the Huracan is also going through a whole new body style change. And the new Huracan will be coming out as well with a similar type engine. It'll be a PHEV as well.
Will there be any gas?
There will be no more gas engines in the Lamborghini lineup.
At all?
At all.
Mic drop. Wow.
I know it's. But here's the thing: it's not going to take away from the sound of the vehicle, because it is mostly gas. It's electric for a little bit, but it's still going to have that raw sound to the engine, right in your eardrum in the back, of your seat, and you'll still hear that. It'll still shift through the gears and give you that rumble and crackle and pop. It might be tuned a little bit differently, but you're still going to have the same attributes that you've always loved about the Lamborghini.
And I think that's what people need to understand. When we're going into this day and age, it's to enhance your experience. It's not to take away. And I think people get so scared about the electric side of things because they have ridden in a Tesla, right? Or Tesla, whatever you want to call it, right?
You just butcher everything. I
butcher everything. That's why I'm the host. I can get away with anything.
Tesla.
No, some people say it's Tesla. And I'm like, it's Tesla.
What
and
country are they from? See, that's the thing. Different countries say it differently, right?
I'm not going to call
If you're
them
from
out.
Italy, you say Urs.
Yeah, yeah. So, but they went in one and they heard nothing. It was dead silent. It was just weird.
Yeah,
so
different
that's what they
experience.
think
Totally
of, right?
different experience.
Now, we'll say this. Let me ask you this. The old timers, right? Yeah, obviously, you got to have $300,000, and a lot of times it's not someone that's 25, 30 years old that I understand the tech, right? Because I can't afford a Lamborghini. But I would understand 100% why you're putting electric in there because I know, the shifts, the initial roll when you're not in the power band, different things like that. Electric power, whoo, yes, all of it, right? I understand it, but I also can't afford it. Someone that's older that does not believe in hybrid at all, how are you going to be able to push from a marketing standpoint to get them on board? Is it just going to be like...
Listen, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, I having those conversations, people just, they cringe. They hear hybrid and they're like, when you think about these cars, that raw sound, that engine, like, listen, Lamborghini has one of the best tuned exhausts on the planet. Historically, like nothing. It is like literally take your breath away. Like you got to remember to breathe when you hear some of these cars start up. I mean, if I started up an Aventador, you would literally your jaw would hit the floor. It's just an iconic sound that you just can't even duplicate. And with the new Revolto, believe it or not, it's still there. It's still there. It's tuned a little differently, but you're not foregoing that and giving that up 100% completely. You're kind of getting the best of both worlds.
Right.
Why do people like electric, right? The people that do like electric is because the experience is so instantaneous, right? You hit the gas and it goes. There's no lag, right? Like a golf cart, just on a different level.
Right.
So you get that, but you still get the engine and the crackles and the pops and the gear shifting and you downshift it and it pop, pop. You'll still hear those sounds.
Can we do that again? It's not even Kobe adding the sound effects. I just got Nick.
I sound like the guy from Police Academy.
We're going to record these and use these in all podcasts now. No, you're right. I mean, obviously, you're still going to have that, and that's the beautiful thing. As long as you don't take away. I've heard some vehicles are going, let's say a V4, right, and then they're adding all the electric, and I'm like, I can't get behind that. Like I can get behind a V10 with electric added to it, right? It's just more of an enhancement at that point. When you go from let's say a V8, right, in an exotic car, and it sounds great, it performs great, and then you step that down to a V4, V6, and then you add electric, to me, I'm like, that's not even close to the same. And I know, and guess what? I'm the guy that drives a V6 truck right now with twin turbo. And I'm still not happy. And guess what? Better fuel efficiency. It is faster. Yes, once in a while it sounds good. But most of the time, I'm still not happy. So it's like, I appreciate what you guys are doing, that you're staying on the V8, V10, V12 lineups. You're just adding to it. You're just enhancing the
We're
experience.
changing with the times. I mean, emissions and trying to save, the environment. It's one of these things where you don't have a choice. That's the way the business is evolving, but we're not going all electric. When you go all electric, then you have range anxiety. You have to plug the car and you got to worry about charging. You don't have to worry about that. The battery charges itself, and you may never ever charge that thing on your own ever. Don't need to. But it just does exactly what I had mentioned earlier. It gives you that instantaneous acceleration. Combined with that raw engine and that V12, I mean that car is insane.
I wish, and shout out to, or if Lamborghini marketing is listening to this, coming up with a different word than hybrid. Unfortunately,
PHEV.
well, I
PHEV?
guess.
I don't use the word hybrid.
Because here's the deal. I think
when
of
people
a
hear
Prius.
hybrid, they literally cringe. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to go there. Oh, electric,
Exactly.
you're crazy," you know.
Exactly.
But all the manufacturers are going there. This technology has been around for years still. I mean, like,
I know.
Lamborghini is part of the Volkswagen Audi group, right? So, they've had this engine, this technology for, engineering for a while. They're just now taking it to the next level with Lamborghini.
But when you say hybrid, like I always think plug-in.
You think like a Toyota Prius.
And it's not that. When it's a V10, V12, V8, whatever it is, and you're just supplementing the dead spot of a shift, right? Even though it's very quick with those dual clutch and all that other stuff. But like you're just supplementing it. There's chances of you, again, like you said, you might never charge this thing.
That's correct. So like if you came in and
different.
drove one, right? If I said, "Oh, yeah, you want to drive a Lamborghini?" Sure, no problem. Let me take you in the new Lamborghini Urus, right? And we're now in 2025. This car's out, and I take you for a ride in the vehicle. And you don't know what type of engine it has in it, right? You just get in it and go. You would never know.
Right.
You would never know. There's not a significant difference to the sound that you're going to be like, start it and don't hear anything, and then step on the gas and it just goes with no sound. That's not how it is.
I think people just need to understand there's such a big difference, right? Like perfect, I think it's a 10-year-old car now, but iconic in a sense, the 918, right? That's been hybrid for 10 years, right? And I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, never. But like, look at the benchmark that they set 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just a supplement. I think people need to understand that a lot more. But that's amazing. I'm actually happy for you guys. Obviously, I will miss, the full gas. But, like you said, it's just going to enhance the experience.
Yeah, and those cars that are on the market that, have full gas engines, the values will probably increase a little bit, because there's going to be a market for that. Sometimes
so anyone
people
that needs an SVJ, go call Nick.
Actually, I got one coming in next week.
There
just
you
so
go.
you know.
What color?
It's silver.
Silver. By the time you guys listen to it, it's probably sold because Nick does a good job at that.
No, I got people waiting for it to arrive.
There you go.
It may make it here at the end of this week, but likely next week is when it will arrive. Car's insane, hands down, like one of the baddest cars ever created.
I was scared. Words could obviously you can fall. I was very scared. I had the opportunity to drive one, and I did because it was an experience, and but I also was like, please, no one touch me right now, right? Like because the value of them. But anyways, I mean, it was an absolute rocket ship. I mean,
so it's coming in at the right time because we have our monthly event at our dealership, the Supercars Espresso, which we do the second Saturday of every month.
Yep.
Which is an event where we bring in, like cars and coffee type setting. We bring in a bunch of like-minded car enthusiasts. We host it at our dealership. We get it catered and music, and we get all these exotic cars to show up, and we actually have a rally coming from Miami.
Nice.
So we got a bunch of Lambos coming in from the East Coast. They're going to come by, and we'll have them all displayed out there. So it'll be a good time to get that car at the dealership and rope it off and let people see it because they're very, very rare. Very rare.
They're extremely rare.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll find a home for it very, very quickly.
Love it, love it. Also, huge, shout out to obviously you and your team. We're gonna have an awesome Real Producers event there. So by the time you guys are hearing this, we've had the event at this point, but we're about a week and a half before our event, and we were excited. I know a lot of agents are excited to be there. Get them excited, and also just get them aware, like, hey, they're in town. I guarantee new of their clients don't know of the new stuff that's happening in Naples. They've been gone for the last 6 months, right? And they're coming into town, different things like that. So I'm excited to have it.
Oh, I'm jacked about
pumped.
it. It's going to be a great event. You always have a great turnout. You always know how to throw a good party. We're happy to host it and get some, a good crowd of people at the dealership, and that's what it's all about, right? I mean, they'll see the cars, they'll see the dealership, and they'll see where we live, basically.
Yeah, obviously the dealership's beautiful, and we can't wait either. So it's going to be great. Well, one kind of big question, because obviously a lot of our listeners are in real estate. They're entrepreneurs. We talked a little bit about building relationships there. But in regards to real estate, a lot of people said, what? You're going to put a Lamborghini dealership that far down 41? In my mind, I've seen the growth in such a short amount of time, and I'm a future kind of planner, and I'm like, that's genius because we can't build anything closer to the water, right? But what's your thoughts on it, and how has that been? Because some people, maybe discriminate going further away from the beach, right? And different things like that. So what's your thoughts on it?
So at first I was like, wow, man, it's kind of out there a little bit,
Yeah.
and I'm like, but then as I started going there, I said, you know what? I like it. I like the fact that it's not around every other car dealership. It's more of a destination. You go there with a purpose. Listen, if you want to buy a Lamborghini, you're going to find us. It's not too hard to find, right? I mean, you just Google Lamborghini Naples, 5154 Tamiami Trail East, you'll find us. And where all the growth and redevelopment's going, that's where it's all going. And the nice thing is we got a great little test drive. I mean, you pull out of the dealership, boom, you're right on Tamiami Trail. You can kind of get on a little bit. And, a lot of times we video people taking off in the car because you get to hear that exhaust. And we play it for them when they come back. And they're like, I'm like, that's you. That's you in your new car right there.
Right.
See how cool that is?
Just sign it here.
Yeah, sign right here. So I actually kind of like it. I like it. I like when people show up just to kind of see the dealership and see the cars, but I also like people that show up with a purpose and real buyers that want to do business with us.
That's a great point. I even think about it. It's a destination. They're going to show up. They're not just going to be driving down, pop in, be like, oh, let me look at that car quick, even though that helps too from an exposure standpoint, but they're there for a purpose. So you're kind of, I guess, weeding out the tire kickers in a sense a little bit, right? You're kind of like getting them out of there. You're like, hey, don't just come in here and tire kick, you know, even though you said you welcome everyone and obviously you treat everyone with the utmost respect. But naturally, being in the location you kind of do, which is good for business too, right? You dedicate the time to people that are making the journey out there to see the cars.
I think the joy of what I do is kind of seeing people's reaction when they come into the dealership and they see these cars. Like I said earlier, I'm kind of desensitized to it because I'm around them. Right. I sometimes even forget that I drive one. But like when they come in, especially like the young kids, their eyes, like they're like, wow, oh my God, And then and even even adults, they come in and like, oh my God, I've never even seen one of these where I live. Oh my God, you mind if I take some pictures? Absolutely, take some pictures, take some videos, And then when someone buys one, right? You got the two types of buyers. You got the guy who's had every exotic car in the world and he just wants to add one to his collection. And then you get the guy that, it's a trophy. I made it. I accomplished my goal in life. I found success at what I do, and now I'm going to treat myself, and I'm going to buy myself a car that I've always wanted as a kid, and now I'm going to own one, a Lamborghini. And to be able to deliver that experience is like, it gives me chills. It really does. Makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, here's the deal. I had the posters. A lot of people had the posters. I will say this: like, they are absolutely sexy beasts. Like
automotive art.
They are.
That's what they are. It's automotive art.
Great. I agree. The lines on it are absolutely gorgeous. I think it's aggressive enough, but not too aggressive to the point where it's like there's too much going on.
Yeah, like a freak show.
Exactly.
It looks like, what the heck is that thing? It's very tastefully done.
Yeah.
I mean, the things look like they're moving when they're standing still.
I know.
Right? I mean, they're big and bold, kind of like I would say like a professional athlete, just shredded. You know what I mean? Ripped. Ready for action. Ready for speed.
100%. All right, we have to wrap this up here in a second, but I want to ask you, all-time favorite Lamborghini and why?
All right, old school Countach. Okay. Just because it is Lamborghini. I mean, that's kind of what when that vehicle, it just broke the mold with any car. I mean, it really just made a whole footprint, right? But current, the Aventador. I mean, just any SVJ, Aventador, fighter jet looking, sounds just, it sounds like a fighter jet. Like
it really does.
I mean, it'll literally rumble and shake the building.
Yeah.
And it just, the lines, you just look at it. Like you could walk around the car literally 100 times and just be like, this thing is nuts.
Unreal.
Yeah, so Countach for old school, Aventador, SVJ for new school.
Amen to that. I'm right along with the same mentality there. Those are two amazing vehicles. So, Nick, I really appreciate you coming on
thanks,
here.
Man.
Obviously,
that.
You're running an amazing dealership. You got a lot going on. Taking your time to talk about cars, entrepreneurship, Naples area, different things like that. If they obviously interested, want to reach out to you, get in touch with you, how do they reach out to you?
Yeah, you can come down to the dealership. I'm there pretty much every day. It's just the commitment that I have. You can go to our website, LamborghiniNaples.com. But social media, of course, we're always posting things and new cars and different events that we're doing online as well through Instagram and Facebook and all the social media outlets. But I like to meet people. So feel free to call the dealership or come by and come see me personally. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to show you some of the cars and, hopefully, get you in a vehicle someday. And if not, listen, I just want to get you down to the dealership so you can enjoy and experience what I experience every day. I feel very blessed.
Amen to that. And obviously, like you said, second Saturday of every month, go down there. They got
Supercars Espresso. It's a great event. I'm telling you, it's growing like a weed.
Love it. Obviously, this is Regenhard Report. We appreciate you guys listening here. Sponsored by Visions Media. If you have any questions to either one of us, reach out. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
My guy. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.